Tucky Talk.
HuckyTalker. Like I've mentioned in another video, probably just recently, because most of these are probably coming out relatively soon within each other.
Maybe,
hopefully. But I want to talk more serious stuff on HuckyTalk. Like, I want to have actual content of talking. Not to say that everything that we have to do is serious.
I mean, everything we have to do is talking.
Yeah, everything we have to do is talking.
Obviously.
Everything has to be talking related. But I don't want to hide behind, like, these are the things we can't talk about kind of subjects. And I think it's a huge passion of mine, because I don't believe there's nothing in the world we can't talk about. There's absolutely nothing you can't talk about. Sure, there's a time, a manner, and a place to talk about certain things, but for the most part, you can talk about literally anything you want to talk about. And so I figured one thing that we can do is kind of just hit the ground running. Let's talk religion. Let's talk our faith. You and I have similar faiths, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we have very similar stories.
Sure, we can talk about that if you want.
Mm-hmm. So
I don't know why I'm saying it like that.
Sure, because we haven't discussed this
too.
before. What? This is a new idea for me. I'm Greg Schenkel.
Oh my god! Let's go with, so what type of religion do you associate yourself with?
I associate myself as a Christian. That is the number one thing. I believe that Jesus Christ died. He rose again 3 days later, and he offered us salvation for dying for our sins.
Okay.
I wholeheartedly believe that. I know that it kind of contradicts a lot of my beliefs in evolution and adaptation of the human species, and that there is evidence, scientific evidence, for a lot of things that we can't just ignore because we have a Bible that doesn't talk about that stuff. But for the most part, in the wholeheartedly core, I believe in Christianity. I believe that is the religion that was meant to be, and that is my faith.
Awesome. And in typical Leo fashion, he answered 3 questions instead of 1. You get a bargain if you talk to Leon. 3 for 1. Here we go.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point. For me, like, that drives me insane about Christians. Not bashing you, just saying it drives me insane. Is that they just go, "Oh, I'm Christian, so that's my thought. I go to church." Okay, but what's your substance? What do you believe? I believe that Jesus Christ died and rose again. That is my wholehearted belief.
Yeah.
That's where it comes down to. I could talk for days about the Bible and how there's certain things in there that may or may not actually have to relate to anything. And that's great theological conversation, but that's not where my faith lies. My faith doesn't rely in the Bible. It relies in a God, in Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my faith. What's your faith?
My faith? My faith is Christianity too. Actually, before we move on to that, I was going to ask you, what's your technical, church you grew up in? What type of Christianity is that? Non-denominational.
I grew up in a Bible school.
He grew up in a denominational church. That's how that works for some reason.
Yeah, I went to Bible church. I'm not going to give names because that's not my place.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that either. I grew up in a evangelical church, which people get confused with the TV version of that all the time. No, evangelical just means I don't want to say less restrictive than other forms. It's less it's focused around the Bible, obviously, but it's like a little bit more of a, you can come in with like little knowledge, or you can come in with very little background and sit down. You're welcome and everything like that.
Mine's evangelical too. Bible churches tend to be evangelical, which is
I guess it's another version of non-denominational. I'm not entirely sure if that's true or not, but
I don't know the differences. Probably someone on the comments will properly correct us on this, but I believe that there's not much of a difference between non-denominational and evangelical. Like
Right.
they're pretty similar. We're not like the typical, I'm Protestant, I'm Lutheran, I'm Catholic, and
No,
we
we're not
can't
one of the
like
big
each
ones.
other's because we believe in the same God. I'm sorry, that was a little bit of a bash. That drives me insane. It's just like, yeah, we're all Christians, but we still have reasons to hate each other. Like,
Oh yeah, there's so many disagreements in history that that's why there's different names.
yeah,
It's because people disagree with each other. It's not just because, oh, I feel like going off with this random stranger who, for some reason, came up with a different side of the same religion.
or like, but
They all had reasons for doing it.
but like even like in the most extreme examples, like, were you Roman Catholicism or were you Orthodox Catholicism? Byzantine Empire or Rome? Make your decision. Like, it's like that.
And they had
kinda,
a pretty big difference between the
I mean,
two,
they had very big differences, but it still was fundamentally the same religion. It just it just comes from this.
branched.
It just branches out. I mean, and even in the more aspect way of personifying, and again, Islam's very different than Christianity, but they still stem from the same origins. They're still Abrahamic. I almost did a stupid and called it Abraham Lincoln. I'm not that bad. I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
no.
this is a religious history talk, not an actual history talk.
I mean, Abraham's still a religious figure.
It's still religious.
I'm not a historical figure. That's what I meant to say.
We're doing religion, not history.
Okay, fine.
I mean,
I'm
religion
sorry.
is history, but
regardless, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity all spectrum from the same guy, Abraham. That's like, it all comes back to that consensus. And so, like, it's one of those things where I love having those theological conversations with people because it opens up your mind to much more things, which is kind of part of the reason why I'm not part of the Christian church anymore. Or publicly will tell everyone I'm not of Christian ideology. I don't go to church. I don't listen to a pastor. I don't sing their hymns. I don't sing their songs. I don't go into these church groups. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not active in my religion. Far from it. I'm very proactive. I'm talking about it on a YouTube channel right now. Like, I'm very proactive in what my beliefs are and my faith is, and I constantly talk to people about my faith. But I'd rather do what the Bible said, which is I would rather go talk to the people about my faith who are not Christians. What's the point of rehashing things with Christianity when I can go talk to an atheist or an agnostic or a Hindu or Hinduism or Buddhism or any kind of religion? I would rather talk to those individuals than just talk to my typical Christian brothers and sisters about situations.
what I think church was originally supposed to be, which I think it was for a little while, is that it was supposed to be a place where fellow Christians came together. They talked about their experiences in the real world, tried to get help from people who had the same understanding of the Bible and Jesus dying for our sins and all of that. And they would collaborate. They would try to figure out ways of spreading the word to their fellow comrades who were not in the church themselves, or not well versed, or
had no access to a Bible, or
had no access to a Bible.
Yeah, I get.
They were supposed to come together and do that, and then disperse, and then go and share
the good news.
Share the good news with all the people.
Mm-hmm.
But now it just becomes a place for people to kind of gather together, and they rejoice, they celebrate. I need to stop hitting the table. About that. They come together, they rejoice, they celebrate, but now they don't really go out. They go out and they criticize others for not being in church, and I think a lot of that has to do with people not understanding that people on the outside, even if they're like, well, I vehemently am atheist or agnostic and don't believe that we need to have any of that nonsense religion in our lives, they don't remember that they can just go and have a conversation with these people about that. Instead, they just kind of listen to the people quietly, just kind of slip away, and they don't really talk to them about their side of things, and then go to church and then I don't know, complain. I don't know if complain is the right word, or just kind of rehash their experience in the real world. It's like, man, the real world is not a great place because there's all these people who are not following Christ and all of this jazz, and they don't understand that a lot of Christians don't understand that they need to, like, you know, come together and figure out a way to, you know, just talk to these people who haven't fallen out. I don't want to say fallen out of faith. They never had much of a religious or faith-driven background in the first place, and so they see this as, like, they see Christianity and all other religions as more of, you know, occultist idealism, because that's all they see on TV and everything. They just see the extreme side of things, and a lot of people who are willing to talk out are have an extremist opinion on religion. The people, I mean, like you and me, especially from where we came from in our background, where we have a level head. We're not living religion 100% of our lives all the time. You know, we have a lot of other things we're doing, and, you know, just being able to talk to other people and being able to communicate with them about religion, and you have to listen to their side too. And I think we've lost a lot of that
give and take
that we're supposed to have. We should probably put a definitive end and beginning to each episode, you know, unlike we've done in the past.
Bye. All right.
I don't know. I guess that works.
Yeah. Next one.